All right, it's Monday, November 6th. We're into November, Dakota. Can you believe it? It's already almost the end of the year. It's crazy. Holiday season's upon us. This is Tony Hughes, and I've got Dakota Morrison. We're waiting for more people. I hope we get some more Team Freedom folks in here, but if not, Dakota, you and I'll have a little mano a mano this morning. Start our month and our week off, our week and our month off together. So today, I just really want to talk about goals. Before we get there, just a couple little things. We're going to continue doing these training or these collaboration meetings, whatever you want, whatever they are. These Monday morning events are for, you, Dakota. It's really not for me to, hear myself talk. I'm doing enough of that every day. So we're going to continue to do these every Monday unless they fall on a holiday, and then we'll forego the weekly event. But as I posted on Workplace the other day, when I started this, I pulled in Brandon Moore, who's an icon in Canada. I pulled in Phil Ramos. I pulled in it's just me and Phil and Brandon, I believe, had a mastermind for several months, and we came up with the mission, vision, and culture statement we came up with a name, Team Freedom Global Real Estate. And we launched the team, I think it was in September of 2021. So it's been just over 2 years now. And the main purpose for me was not because I don't have anything better to do on a Monday morning, but to really create community, to build community. And I feel like I'm just going to tell you straight up, and everybody else will hear it. I feel like maybe I failed a little bit in this area. Because it just doesn't seem like people value community, that much. But in real estate, if agents will think outside the box and think about, think, hey, good morning, Lorena, good to see you. If they'll think long term instead of like, how do I pay my bills tomorrow? There's value in building relationships, right? There's tremendous value. I mean, I literally know agents that all they go to the conventions for every year at Keller Williams is just to meet new agents, to build friendships, because that is going to be their referral partner. And they nurture it. When they go home, they send them handwritten cards. They stay in touch. They call occasionally, and they really make that friendship. And, for people in Arizona, it's very obvious. Who do you make friends with? Anybody that lives in a state that has snow. You live in those states, you make friends with people in those states because their clients are going to be moving to your state. Same with Florida and Texas and all the other nice warm states that are out there. So anyway, just wanted to touch on that just a little bit. And then also Cabo, I know it's expensive, guys, but if there's any way, shape, or form you can just save your money and get down there. Cabo is like one of those events that really, it's, Glenn Sanford will be there most likely because he's always there, but it's not his event. It's not an EXP event. It's a Brent Gove event. And Brent puts on the best events in the industry, period. They're the best. They're like, for a little one agent guy to put on these kind of Hollywood, kind of events with the cameras and the big screens and all that, it's extraordinary. So it's worth every dime. Plus, when it gets down to it, we all need more tax deductions anyway. So this is a very good, legitimate, and Lorena, that your husband runs a tax firm. It's a great business write-off, and you get to live. You get to have a lifestyle. You could go hang out with the rich and the famous of EXP, and that's literally who goes to Cabo. It's the richest people in the company. It's the people that make the most money, and hardly any of them sell houses anymore. Is that crazy or what? They don't need to anymore. They're all making 6 figures a month in residual income thanks to EXP's revenue share model. So, all right, couple of those things. And then, of course, next year we've got EXP Con is going to be in Miami, which is kind of a new thing. So if anybody wants to go to Florida next year with us, that would be a great thing. I don't know if you guys have got your 2024 calendars. You can't see it because of the darn screen. But if you don't have your desk calendar, go get yourself a 2024. I've already basically laid out the entire year for Jennifer and I. I've blocked off all of our personal time first, right? That's the first thing you do when you plan out your new year, is block off family time. And, that's the most important time. And then start to work into your business and faith and whatever other, things that you have coming at you in this thing we call life. So be sure and get that and start planning out your year. This is a great time to do it. Business slows down a little bit in the wintertime. So we really want to go into 2024 locked and loaded and ready to go out there and tackle it. Hey, Amika, good to see you. Merrick, great to have you guys. Zach, good to have you guys on. Zach, how's your wife doing? Is she getting any better? Did they figure anything out?
Still figuring that out, but the pain's a little bit more manageable. But yeah, still figuring that all out.
Well, I hope they get it figured out, man. There's nothing worse than living with a headache every single day of your life.
Definitely.
It's annoying. Okay, so we're gonna pop over to Team Freedom Workplace. If you guys want to jump over there, you can, or you can just follow along with me. I just uploaded this document, and in America, this is obviously 101 for you, and Lorena, same for you, I'm sure. But I just want to make sure that we address this, just so that everybody's on the same page, and we don't make any assumptions, because we all know what it means to assume, right? So let me see if I can get this. Let me go back. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's a little small, but maybe I could do it this way. Hang on a second. Let's do it this way. I've got the document on my desktop. There we go. Okay, now we'll share the screen. So I don't know how you guys like to run your business. I think the Canadians are a little different. They don't look at stuff by closed sales volume up there. Apparently, it's like all units. But to me, a unit could produce $200 in commission, or it could produce $25,000 in commission or more. Right? A unit to me is pretty hard to define unless you really come up with what is the average price of these units that are out there. And so this is just a simple mathematical equation that anybody can use, and all you have to know really is the average price point of homes in your market. So I just looked it up for Idaho Falls. It's $410,000 is the average price point. It's dropped about 20% in the last 8 months or so, something like that. So that's kind of a good thing. It's starting to come down. But for practical purposes here this morning, I've got the average price point of $455,000. And then what you want to do is you want to say, okay, look, how much money do I want to put in the bank account this next year? Do I want to put 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, whatever that number is, you figure it, you just put it down. And that is what to me gives me direction. That gives me, it's like a bullseye that I'm pointing at all year long. Even before the year starts, I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to tackle this dang goal here. And so what we want to do is we want to think about net, not about gross. Gross is before we split to the company. It's before agent equity comes out. It's before E&O comes out. It's before broker review comes out. So we're talking about net. We want to put $80,000, and maybe it's $800,000 for Merrick Davis, whatever it is, your number. I'm just kind of using an average number here for real estate agents. So $80,000 is how much we want to put in the bank account. Well, then we kind of have to figure out what are the average, what's the average seller commission and what's the average buyer commission. Well, that's hard to do if you don't have a lot of numbers to pull from because you're just getting started in the business. So I put these numbers up there, and I would say, unless Merrick, you feel like, they're off, I feel like these are pretty legit. You're going to make a little bit more typically on your listings than you do as a buyer, because the seller dictates the terms of commission. And
I think that you're pretty spot on these commissions.
Is it? Okay, good.
Yeah, between 2.5% to 3% typically in our market.
Okay, good. So seller commission, we've just using a 2.85%, buyer just a little bit below that 2.7%. So if you were to sell a house, on a listing, this is working with a seller, $455,000 your average price point at times 2.85%. That gives you $12,967.50. If you're working with buyers, it's just slightly lower than that, $12,285. So only, what is that, $760 or $700, something like that, for buyers. So there's kind of your average. That's before the split. So let's scroll down. So your average listing net commission. How do we figure that out? It's very simple. You guys all know how to do it. So we're going to take this number, that 12,967, and we're going to multiply it times 0.8, because that's going to take out the 20% that you're paying into EXP. So 12,967.50 times 0.8 equals $10,374. Now we're going to have to subtract out the 5% for the agent equity plan. If you guys are not on that plan, you guys are nuts. I have better words than that, but I'm going to try and be nice. You need to be on the agent equity plan, because the stock is lower right now. And when this thing gets up to $70, $80, $90 a share, you guys are going to be killing yourselves that you didn't listen. So if you're not in the agent equity program, that's your homework assignment today. Get in the world, go into the agent support and ask them to sign you up for the agent equity. So you take your 5% out, because that's your money. You can cash that out anytime. Stock goes up $3 a share. You want to make a little money? Sell your stock. But I would say keep it in there until you retire. Anyway, 5%, and then we got to take out the $40 for and the $25 for the broker review. So we take 10,374, which is the number after we've given EXP their 20. And we multiply that times the 0.95, which is going to take out 5% of the of our commission to pay for the agent equity. That's where you're buying the stock at a 10% discount. So you're getting the stock better than you could buy it from Charles Schwab or Ameritrade or any of those Robinhood or any of those stock apps that are out there. So 5%, you pull that out, that gives you $9,855.30. Now we got to take out our 40 and our 25. So your net is $9,790.30. That is on your net. That's on your seller commission. Then the buyer commission, did the same math. It comes out just slightly less, $9,271.60. So once you know kind of your average commission of a home, and it's really simple. If you know what the average commission is, 2.85, 2.7, whatever, and you know what the average price point is, which all you got to do on that is Google it. What's the average price of a home in Pocatello, Idaho, and it's going to tell you what it is for 2023, because Realtor.com does that math for all the markets out there. All right, so we've got the numbers there, and then we just come down here and we go, okay, the average commission. All I did is took these two numbers, 97.90 and 92.71, add them together and divide it by 2. That gives us the average. So the average commission is $9,530.95, and that's net. That's after EXP's got their money. That's after we put 5% into our bank account for the EXP stock, and after we paid our brokers and taking care of our E&O insurance. $9,530. Then you simply take your net income goal that you set for the year, 80,000, you divide that by your net commission, and that's going to tell you how many units you need to sell this year. And if you're doing real estate right, you ought to be balanced. You ought to have just as many buyers as you do sellers, and you ought to have just as many sellers as you have buyers. And if you're doing it really right, you're focused primarily on listings, right? And then you just go bust your butt and go find the buyers, so you double in those deals. So 4.2 buyers and 4.2 sellers. If you do the math on that, 8.4 divided by 12 is 1.42 closings per month all year. 1.5 closings, and you're going to meet your net goal of $80,000. That's going in the bank account. You're going to have to pay taxes on that, so you better have a lot of write-offs if you're adding that number to a full-time 401. I mean, a full-time W-2 income. So. All right, any comments or questions, adjustments, something I missed? Anybody else want to chime in there?
I'm sweating.
Sweating, tell me about it.
No, I was just writing as fast as I could, trying to go through this, but
no,
I love that we're doing this, Tony. I love this because I'm getting organized right now, So I'm gonna put this on my whiteboard so that I'm organized every month so I can see where I'm at.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll tell you, Merrick, all the big dogs, and I haven't seen your office, so I don't know what it looks like, but that's sad too. I should be down there. But all the big dogs that I saw at Keller Williams in their offices, they had those massive whiteboards, and then they would go down to like Home Depot and or whatever and buy or Staples and buy little skinny tape, like red tape, black tape, and they would literally make a spreadsheet on the whiteboard with these little, lines, and that's how they kept track of all their buyers, all their sellers, their commissions, how much money they had in the pipeline that they needed to, mature and all that, nurture. And yeah, so to me, it's great to have spreadsheets and all that, but I like to have big visual. That's why I have the biggest whiteboard that you can buy on my wall. It's a big one. In fact, my wife's got one the same size in her office, but that way you can put up all the stuff that you need to see that just floods your subconscious mind continually, so that when you're sleeping subconsciously, you're working on this stuff. Your brain's working on it. So anybody else find this useful? See anything we need to change? Okay. Now, if you go back and look at your numbers for 2023 and look at how many buyers you had and how many sellers you had, the way I like to look at it, let's say you had, 20 sellers and you had 5 buyers. Well, good for you. Take my hat off. Congratulations on the fact that you did 20 sellers. But let's look at the math. Let's just look at the math on what it would have been if you would have filled in that gap of 15 units. So between 5 buyers and 20 buyers, right? If you would have had as many buyers as you would have had sellers, just multiply 9,271 times 15. And that's how much income you missed out on because you didn't hustle enough. You didn't get out there and beat the doors down at your open houses. You didn't get your title reps to, flood the neighborhood with flyers, letting people know that you just sold this house and, you're looking for buyers for this house or whatever it is, right? We got to constantly be looking for buyers to match up our sellers, because that means twice as much income. And it's really not that much more work, especially Merrick. Is that right? I mean, for a double-ended deal, it's you're already working with these people, so it's like it's not that much more work, especially you've got a transaction coordinator who's taking care of all the paperwork. I would focus on double-ending every single deal, for the rest of my career. Why not? So
that's actually one of my goals, is to double end at least half of my listings, which this year, I've taken on, I think 36 or 35 listings, and I've double ended like 8 of them. So this next year the goal is to do more.
Wow, that's a fantastic goal. That Merrick, I know I've told you about Wendy Patton. Wendy Patton, if you Google her or go on Amazon, she's the biggest guru on lease options. She used to be my best friend until I got divorced. And then they went to Team Marsha. But anyway, Wendy is just an extraordinary brain when it comes to math. She owns 2 Keller Williams franchises. She's made tens of millions of dollars in real estate investing. I think she owns over 140 properties. She's written 2 or 3, 4 best-selling books on lease options, how to make hard money in a soft economy, and different books like that. But anyway, I had Wendy fly out from Michigan to come do a training for our agents at Keller Williams back around 2016. And she asked me before she got there, she said, I want all the numbers for all your cappers. I want to know all their production numbers. So I pulled all the production numbers for all of our cappers and emailed them to her before she got there, or before she flew in. And what it turned into was her coaching, these people that are doing $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year in GCI, teaching them how to go out and double that income by getting more buyers. And that's really was her focus was, okay, you know, and everybody thought they were patting themselves on the back, you know, look at me, I did, you know, $397,000 in GCI last year. And, you know, Wendy's like, hey, no disrespect, good job, that's great income, but you could have made 700,000. Let me show you how. Right. And so she, you know, she kind of went through. So there is huge opportunity in buyers. I'm not going to beat this horse too much, but you know, open house is a simple little fundamental lead generation activity that we highly recommend. Those that say open houses don't work are idiots. They've never worked them. They don't know how to work them. They're not good with people. They don't know what they're talking about. Open houses work if you work them. But it's one of those activities that you can evolve from so that you don't have to do them your whole life, right? You can go out there and grind it out, work your butt off, you know, and develop those skills, but you don't have to do open houses forever. You'll have other ways that you can generate leads, maybe buy leads, or your clients are, you know, feeding you enough referrals, what have you. But open houses are one of those simple activities that we can do to go out and generate tons of leads. And yet it's amazing to me that an agent will go out and put 3 hours of their life into sitting in a house. They'll put out 4 signs, one of which is in front of the house. So really there's 3 signs around the neighborhood. You know, they sit there for 2, 3, 4 hours, and they don't do anything to go out and knock on doors or go meet the neighbors. They don't spend an hour, 2 hours before the open house to go out. That's where your money's at. Your money is not sitting in that open house. Your money is getting those neighbors to come see what their neighbor is selling their house for, you know, what it looks like, so that if they ever think about it, you've captured their information and you can, you know, you can list their house, right? So it's all about getting buyers, you know, getting buyers and balancing out the buyers and the sellers. But this is literally a simple way to develop. You put the bullseye up there, and it could be 50,000, it could be 40,000, it could be 150, it could be whatever you want. As long as you know the average price point of the home in your market, you can use these percentages on seller and buyer commissions. Those are pretty spot on. You can figure it out. Just multiply the numbers and then do the 0.8, take out your 20%, do the 0.95 if you're on the agent equity program, take out the 5% there, and then take out your 65, and boom, you got your net numbers. Divide that into your net annual number, and that tells you how many units you've got to close that year. Easy, right? Piece of cake. Anybody else have any comments? Everybody got their numbers set for the year? Got them on your whiteboard? Can you see them? Can you tell me what they are? Do you have your time blocked for next year? Do you have your lead generation blocked off in your calendars? Ain't nobody messing with your lead gen time? I hope so, guys. You got to block that off, right? If it ain't in the calendar, it doesn't exist. That's what Mama Mo Anderson, the former president of Keller Williams, used to say. If it ain't in my calendar, it don't exist. So get it in the calendar, time block, be disciplined. That's how we're going to have a great year and a funky year. It's going to be a funky year next year, but it's going to be a great year for those of us that, you know, have really focused on the 5 P's, right? Prior, preparation, prevents poor performance. If we're prepared and we know exactly what we're doing and how we're going to get it done, we're going to have a damn good year next year. If not, we're going out there by the seat of their pants and, you know, shooting from the hip. You're going to get a shoot from the hip income. You know, that's just the way it works out. So, all right, Emeka, tell me what's going on down in Phoenix. Let's hear the good news.
A lot is going on. I finally decided to go into the listing side a little bit. You know, most of my deals this year were just as a buyer agent, but I decided to put in some work, take some break, put in some work and see what I could find. Currently have 3 listings, working on the 4th one this month. And I actually learned a little trick, which I got like 2 buyers from yesterday. When you put your MLS, your listing on MLS, go back into Zillow, because a lot of buyers are looking at Zillow, and edit, actually claim that listing as your listing if you're registered as an agent on Zillow. and then you can actually edit the listing to add your information. That way they can call you instead of calling another agent.
Merrick, are you doing that?
E-
Lorraine, are you guys doing that?
I'm not actually. I sent a request into Zillow this morning because they haven't verified my MLS number still, and it's been like 5 years. So I sent them an email this morning. It actually prompted me from the EXP, rate my website or whatever it is, the Real Grader.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm working on getting my realtor.com and my Zillow profiles set up today. So
Mecca, is there any other advice you can give people on that to get that ability?
Yeah, I just read. I mean, mine didn't take that long, so I don't know. I can probably look at how I did it, but it took like a day for me to sign up as an agent. But I mean, I literally did it, claimed the listing on Friday. Saturday at 10 p.m., I got a call from a random number. I was like, hey, I want to go see this house tomorrow. I'm like, okay, that's weird. At 10 o'clock, but sure. So I was able to meet up with them, and they want to buy and sell their house. So it was kind of a 2-in-1 deal.
Nice.
But yeah, knocked on. Go ahead.
No, I just say that's pretty dang nice.
It's tough. It's easy. I think what I could say as a new agent, it was easy for me to just represent buyers. And when you're representing buyers and you're busy driving around town, it consumes so much of your time that you don't block out any time to go after listings. So I literally had to like almost shut my business down and go after and just focus on just sellers to get a few listings under my belt and then, start up again. But one of the listings is going to be a double dip here next week, actually. So, yeah.
Good deal. Lorena, go for it. I'm just unmute and dive in there, dear.
So I also wanted to say, I know we all want to be listing agents, it's so much easier and everything, but right now, I'm barely back to work, literally. My dad left my house on Saturday, so I am liberated. So he's discharged my home. I have time. I'm back to work. Worked in 165 days, so it's been quite a bit. But yesterday I was showing houses. I mean, I did a listing and I have it under contract. I have some stuff.
I wish everybody worked like you did, Lorena. Double the production.
It was nice taking the time off, but I'm getting anxious, and my reserves are going like this, and I'm like, I need to get back to work. So anyways, this is what I wanted to tell everyone. Start researching your local. I know new builds were kind of scary because we didn't know what rates were going to be. This is the time for buyers to get new builds. I can get a buyer right now. I'm trying to work the contract. I'm taking them back today. They're going to be in a 2-in-1 buy down. They're going to start them at 3.5. 4.5, and then 5.5 will be forever for 27 years. So that is a killer deal. So these builders want to get rid of their inventory. They have move-in ready. You don't have to wait a year. They can close by December in 30 days. They have killer rates right now, and they're offering credits. I mean, you can, and it won't take too much. I mean, maybe just a day, get them under contract, and they have really good rates. They have the power to do that. So, and they want to get rid of their inventory for the year. So that's the kind of strategy I'm taking for my buyers. I'm calling all the buyers from before, from the pandemic, and everyone that has a conventional loan. I'm going to see if they want to buy another home because they can rent the home that they're in right now. And since they have a 2.75, 3.3 rate, it will cash flow. The property will cash flow, and they can buy a second home. The FHA ones, they're tricky. They can't really do that, but you can make some deals with this type of things with the builders. They have 5.5 rates and even 4.8. There was one offering 4.7. So start calling around and find out.
Zach Martin, can you unmute your mic for just a second? To Lorena's point, I literally just drove to Boise with my wife this weekend, and one of the billboards that I saw off the freeway as I was going through kind of the downtown area of Boise was Adair Homes, and they had on the billboard 4.5%, 4.55% interest rate to 5.45% interest rate or something like that. But that, to Lorena's point, I mean, that builders are like, that's the best place you can get an interest rate right now is going through
Exactly.
builders,
And
right?
some of them are paying 4% commission.
Right.
4% commission. So you can unlock a seller too, because they were kind of on the fence of, getting another house because they have such a low rate. Well, if they're at 3.5 and they get over 4.5, that's only 1 point. That's not a big deal. And they're getting price reductions too. So it's awesome. I think it's awesome because in the used market, it's low inventory and you don't know who you're dealing with. Some are motivated, some are just testing the market, who knows. But I think it's a great time to do this, especially if you're capped. Like I'm capped until, the end of December. So I'm gonna try to see how much I can do. And then just wrap up the year because I've been not producing that much in a few months, but just kind of go on there. There's a website on your app. I don't know if people have it. It's called here, let me pull it up. It's like a national database. And it literally goes in, forget what the name of it is. I'll text it to you, Tony, because I think I deleted it because I'm running out of state. Okay, here it is. It's called showingnew.com. Showingnew.com. And you can go on the website or download the app. You can literally plug in a zip code and it'll bring all the builders that are there, all of them. And it's nationwide. It's not just local. You can start calling them and see what they're offering. And you can even send postcards to the neighborhood and be like, hey, I don't know, just advertise whatever you want. I mean,
Yeah.
clients and be like,
Can
hey,
you,
I know
Lorena,
somebody
can
that
you,
can get you in a 0.5 or something.
Lorena, can you put that in the chat box for
I
me?
was just going to ask her to do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Dakota, I hope you're listening, brother, because we got to take over new constructions in our market.
Where's the chat box?
And
My
and what
goodness.
she's saying, I can concur
Oh.
to that. Like I just got a client on a contract for 4.99 last week. So yeah, definitely, and it was a 4% commission as well.
Love it.
Is that for California too?
Well, it's all over,
I
really.
can speak for Oakland. I'm in Arizona. Sorry.
That was in Arizona, but the same thing's going on. You see big construction. The big developers are the ones that are they're the ones that are offering the best interest rates because they can, right? They've got the ability to cut corners or whatever and make the same kind of profit. But it's a great time for buyers if they want to get a really good deal on a interest rate to work with a new home builder. There it is right there, showingnew.com. Thank you for sharing that, Lorena. Guys, one other thing for those of you that are into this kind of thing, I mean, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but Emeka, he's from Nigeria, and I love what he does. I mean, Emeka, I thought of you yesterday, it was Friday night. We pulled into the hotel in Boise, and there was a whole bar. The whole Burger Theory bar was nothing but Nigerians. And man, I was looking in there to see if I could find you, but you weren't there. But I told Jennifer, I guarantee you every one of those guys are from Nigeria. I can tell by the accent. I can tell exactly that's where they're from. But anyway, Emeka likes to do big events. Emeka, would you mind sharing just a couple, because you're a new agent, like relatively, you're what,
Yes.
years in the game? What are some of the events that you put on in Phoenix there that have been drawing attention to your business?
So I do this buyer happy hours, this real estate happy hours, where I partner with the title companies to provide like beverages and snacks. And it's a free event and people just come and ask questions. There's no forcing. If they want to sign up for the leads, I have the event listed on Eventbrite so people can sign up. And then when they come in and check in, I ask them like, hey, is it okay if I follow up with you after the event? They say yes. Kind of gauge where they are in the process. Are you buying? Are you selling? What questions do you have? And we started out with stupid questions. That way people feel comfortable enough to ask any questions they feel like it's dumb. They're like, oh, if he can ask that question, I can ask, because there's a lot of misconception when it comes to buying houses or selling, even the people that have bought 2-3 times, they're still confused with some information. So I bring in on board some lenders. We've had Chase on there. We've had a few other lenders, UMB. just to talk about different things. I invite insurance companies, warranty companies. I've had appraisal companies in there. Because it makes people a little bit more comfortable. And I've gotten like probably like 10 to 15 leads from just that.
When do you do your happy hours?
So I do them on Thursday, every last Thursday of the month.
Every last Thursday of the month. Okay. So you actually have a system.
Correct. So people look forward to it. And people come, they have drinks, they meet people, they exchange business cards and all of that. I've had other agents come through as well. So I do that. And I also host like the African Fashion Week here in Phoenix. And I quote unquote sponsor it. So I have my QR code that leads to my website and my registration everywhere in the venue. So people, it's like, hey, do you want photos from this event? Register and we can follow up with you afterwards. And it's an amazing lead gen. I try to do like different happy hours. I have a food truck that comes to my office every other Friday. So they get the food truck outside and I have like water and beverages inside my office. Again, a good way to start conversation with people.
Emeka's background, you guys, is in fashion. And so he's literally put on, if you follow him on social media, he's put on these white events down there that you just did one a couple months ago. And it looked extraordinary. I mean, so many beautiful people. I was like, wow.
Yeah, we had over close to 1,000 people there. So it was really good.
Wow, that's amazing. So guys, events are another huge opportunity for you to obviously create relationships with buyers, with sellers, first-time homeowners, putting on happy hours that have a theme around new home construction, the benefits of buying a new home right now, whatever it is, right? So I think events are great. If you like to do that sort of thing, Emeka has proven in the 2 years that he's been a real estate agent that they absolutely work. Because I'd say that's where you're getting the vast majority of all your new business from, isn't it, Emeka?
Yeah, I would say probably about 80% of it is coming from there.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Awesome. Go ahead, Lorena.
Forgot to mention, we have a regional event here in Denver, and Glenn Stanford's going to be there and everybody. So we're going, me and Bobby.
Nice. Wait, when is it? When is it?
Tomorrow from like 9 to 2. It's like 5 hours.
Oh my gosh, tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
I know there's
in
one
Thornton, Colorado.
Sacramento. If you guys haven't seen those, you ought to look and see. I know there's some in LA, there's some in Sacramento, or one.
Salt Lake City.
No, they didn't have them in Salt Lake City, I don't think, Zach. Do they? I looked.
I believe so.
Salt Lake. Huh?
I'll double check, but I believe they did.
The closest one that I saw was the one in Colorado.
Yeah, I saw Denver. I saw that, the one that Lorena's going to. But yeah, if you guys can plug into those, they do not suck. That'll definitely be worth your time. And again, it's events. Events drive the business. Events refuel the batteries. Events connect the head with the heart. Events get you fired up. When you get around other people that have a bigger vision than you do, it expands your vision, right? You get around a bunch of people that have no vision or little tiny visions, you're going to be a little raisin. You're going to go from a prune to a raisin. So get away from those people and get around people that are successful, that are moving and grooving, and it can't help but rub off on you, to have a better year. So just plug in. I love that you're going to that with Bobby Joe, Lorena. That's awesome.
Yes. And Tony, another thing too, the whole NAR situation.
With
like, don't let that bother you. Like, there's so much drama with that. And it's like, just stop, like I even made a posting on real estate on the mastermind, because everybody's kind of like, oh my gosh, it's going to tank, and the buyers are not going to get paid. Well, I see it as an opportunity to talk to the sellers about it, because it's on the news. They're asking questions. So you can just say, hey, well, I'm glad you brought that up. I know that's a hot topic. Let's talk about it. Use that to get clients, use that conversation to get clients.
Absolutely.
Like, don't get into that.
No, I love it. I know, Zach, you pointed it out to me last week. He and I were texting back and forth, and here's the thing about it, guys. I mean, it's not like the tobacco industry. I was around when the tobacco industry got sued, the largest lawsuit in the history of the world. And this one has the potential of being pretty close to it once all the damages are done. But the bottom line is it's going to be appealed. This is going to take years to go through. And frankly, I'm aghast. I was aghast at the buffoonery of the lawyers that were representing NAR. And that's why the NAR president, the CEO, he resigned, which he should have, I think. And so we can get someone in there that has some balls, excuse my French, but Gary Keller did good by the industry. There were several, but I still think that this lawsuit is completely meritless. And other than that, I agree with Lorena. It's all it is right now is a gosh darn distraction. Buyers and sellers aren't focused on that crap. The only people that are focused on that crap are real estate agents and lenders, right? So if you allow that to be another distraction to keep you from getting your next listing, that's on you. Right. So I agree, Lorena. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything else anybody wants to talk about, wants to go over before we wrap up and get ready for the week?
Tony, I'm going to connect with you. I have an agent that's coming on board in Houston. Really,
nice.
really amazing guy. So I'm excited about that. I want to see if I can connect with you tomorrow to get him onboarded. He just got his license.
I'd love to, Emeka. Put him on with me and we'll get him up to speed. Here's the deal. We don't have anybody on Team Freedom in Texas yet. Can you believe that?
He's in Houston, so
yeah. So we're gonna flood that guy. Everybody, he'll be our best friend in Houston. Everybody hook him up. So once we get his information, we'll share it with everybody. But guys, promote yourselves, Get on Workplace. Offer a little higher referral commission than the average guys or gals out there. Leverage our platform. We have 90,000 people on this platform. You got to get out there and promote yourself for referrals. It's free. It's easy. It takes seconds to do, and yet hardly anybody's doing it. And, there's nobody better than to, promote themselves for your city, for Pocatello, Idaho, than Dakota Morrison. Right. But I got to know that there's a guy out there from some little Indian town called Pocatello in Idaho before I can know who to call. Right. So promote yourself to your colleagues. Don't be afraid. Just because no one else does it doesn't mean that you have to do the same thing. Right. To me, that's just free money. It's a way to get free business. So do it at least once every quarter or so and put your name out there and wave the flag around so that your 90,000 brothers and sisters can see you and know who you are and where you are and put you down as a possible referral partner.
And Tony, my last question, I'm still trying to find out. What is the number for Icon agent? I don't know. I feel like I keep chasing my tail with that. Like, what is the breakdown for that? Do you know? I reached out to.
It's very simple. It's cap plus 20. It's cap
so
plus
whatever
20.
it took me to cap plus 20 units.
And it has to be 20 full units. It can't be a shared unit. So if you share, it can, but you're only going to get, a 50% credit for that unit or whatever, right? But it's 20 full units after you've capped. So if you capped in 6 closings, then it would be 20 more in addition to that in your 1 year period of time.
So how do I know if I hit it? Because I'm trying to figure if I'm already there or what's happening.
Best thing to do, honestly, Emeka, is go into the world and go into the transactions department and just be very transparent. Just say, listen, I've got, ask them right up front. Just say, hey, do you have a little bit of time? A little time. Clear the time with them and then tell them that you're running for Icon and you need to go through all the T's and the I's, make sure they're crossed and dotted, and they can go through all that with you over in the world.
To be honest, I tried that. They say they're gonna get back to me, and the next time I tried it, they referred me to, I think it was accounting or something, and they sent me something that left me more confused than I started.
Have you sent an email to Icon? What is it, Merrick? Icon Awards, icon@exprealty.com. What's the email?
Yep.
Sorry. Let's see. I can tell you. iconaward@exprealty.net.
Yeah, I'd probably send them, an email to Emeka and have someone call you on the phone. because that's all their job. That's all their job is, to help icons.
I did that last month. Um,
Becca, I'm happy to get on Zoom and teach you how to light a fire under someone's butt. I'll teach you how to light a fire under someone's butt. No, we'll get it. If you need help on that, there's no way that you can't not get that information. Like, you have to get that information. And between transactions, accounting, and agent services, you should be able to get that information. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to know exactly where you are, but it's 20 deals. Merrick, do you have any other advice in terms of tracking Icon?
I don't track it.
Well, you don't need to, you sorry dog.
The reason why I don't track it is because when I get caught up in following how many transactions I'm doing, it slows me down.
Well, Mecca's first time, man. He's like just a beginner on Icon. So
All I can tell you, Emeka, is just keep working your tail off, brother.
Mecca, I would add to that just a little bit, just because my career probably, well, from 2000 to 2011, so that's 11 years, every month of my life for about 10 and a half of that 11 years, every month of my life, and Lorena, you know what I'm about ready to say, I think, required that I have, 3 people on my team that did 25 sales every month minimum in order to hit my huge bonus that I hit every month for 10 years. I never didn't hit it. But the reason I hit it every month for 10 years is because I knew my numbers. I knew exactly where I was. I knew exactly where I needed to go. And so, I would say get somebody to sit down with you. And if you need to, like, say, is there a supervisor that can get in here with me? Get a supervisor. Get someone that knows what they're doing, because obviously we don't hire, necessarily, brainiacs to do some of the work that needs to get done at EXP. You don't need to have advanced degrees to do what we're doing, right? So, but sometimes you do need someone that has experience, that's been at EXP for 3 or 4 years, that can really get to what you're looking for. And I promise you, those people are there, and I promise you, they will bend over backwards to help you find out exactly what your numbers are. And if you need help, seriously, you let me know, and I'll jump all up in their business.
Okay.
You get that information.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of stirring the pot. All right. Cool beans. I love that we have people going for Icon first time, wanting to know what Lorena, you know what I'm talking about, right? When you go for executive director every month, I mean, you
Yep.
know your shit,
Yep.
right?
Oh, yeah.
My friends.
I remember like 2 days before, like just crushing the numbers and like one more membership.
But I was at a different level.
Two
I had
more
five executive directors. So
memberships,
when you're a platinum, I was a platinum 4, which none of these people know what I'm talking about, but that just means that I had like 6 or 7, 8, whatever it was, executive director organizations. So when you're running an empire like that, you can't shoot from the hip. You got to know your numbers, and there's people that know what the numbers are. You just got to find those people to get the numbers. And sometimes it's not that employee that just started 6 months ago, Emeka. Sometimes you have to respectfully ask them, hey, would you mind going to getting your boss? And let's see if we can get to the bottom of this real quick, because it's super important to me, right? I mean, $16,000 in company stock is nothing to take casually, to take lightly, because all you have to do is multiply that times $80, 80 times 16,000. And that kind of tells you what the value of that stock is, the real value of that stock, in my humble opinion. So, you don't want to mess around with that stuff. You want to know what you're doing. All right, guys, love you, appreciate you. Hope you have a great week. And if you need any help, feel free to give me a call. If you need some coaching or advice or help with your numbers, Emeka, whatever, just made it really easy with TonyHughes.com. So you can just go on there and book out your coaching time. So Franny, good to see you too. Hope you're doing well. You look like you're doing better.
Yeah, I want to speak to you. I have a referral for a client of mine in California who moved to Florida, and I'm trying to put a referral fee for my broker to sign and his broker to sign. He's an Icon agent in Fort Lauderdale.